Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're going to take a look, of course, here at Bitcoin, helping understand best practice, big picture, taking a look at the awesome amount of increase we saw here today that is tentatively getting rejected. We want to see if that's going to be able to maintain itself, or if we're going to just get closed out here and have a terrible weekend. Not trying to imply that's the case, but we're going to look at some details and obviously figure that out. If you're new to the channel though, not a financial advisor, love to teach people to trade. You want to become a better trader? Join over 248 active members, 10 of which of those have come over since the first of the month, and just help you become a better trader. CryptoCache.tech is a site where you can register for my trading academy, community, and signal group. All great things. And touching on signals really quick here, let's actually throw this out here. Had a Matic trade yesterday. Our entry target was 95 cents. 5 profit targets, looking for $1.10 for the ultimate goal there. We hit every single profit target in only 10 hours and 21 minutes for 161% leverage, 20x leverage, and 8% spot. Okay, so awesome stuff there. Really great profits being taken, and we're getting some really cool stuff here taken off as well with Ethereum, 83%. That's our FOMC trade that we took, as well as Bitcoin, same scenario there. And then we also took some monster profits from, where is it? I think it was BNB. Look at that, 142%. Granted, it took 2 months and 4 days, but we got some profits there too. So again, patience does pay off. Thank you so much to my current community members for just being awesome traders. As we can see, we've got tons of profit from a lot of my members here. So just keep up the great work, guys. You're really doing awesome. I love that you're banding together and working together to get some monster gains here. Look at this. 182% for XRP. Goodness gracious. Well done, mechanical investor. You guys are awesome. Last thing too, of course, they're all using Bitget Exchange, which is phenomenal exchange, best exchange I've ever used. We have a King's Cup global invitation coming up here in November. What is it? I think it's November 20th is the registration deadline. And so far I've got, 6 members registered. So make sure you get in there, get signed up so you can have an opportunity to be able to take a really massive prize pool. We're going to go ahead and see if we can go ahead and kick this off. We do need 11 members at least, and we got 6. So we're halfway to our goal. I'm confident we'll be able to get that filled here soon. So again, check that out. Use the link in the description below. You'll only be eligible for this if you use my link. And just bear in mind, we have monthly prize pools. Like, Bitget is awesome. They really hold it together. So thank you so much, again, to my current community members that are looking to participate with that. That being said, take a look here at Bitcoin. Here's the standard stuff that we're going to look at. We're going to work with our regular stuff, work our way down. Before we do that, though, we want to take a quick peek at the traditional markets. And we can see that, first of all, Bitcoin dominance is on a significant decrease. So a lot of money's in profits coming from Bitcoin and going into altcoins, which is why we're seeing coins like Matic, BNB, and a handful of other ones taking off, because of the fact that they're doing very well in the general sense of Bitcoin essentially losing its dominance, right? So when Bitcoin dominance goes down, alts go up, and that's a very positive sign. Furthermore, too, if we look at traditional markets, we can see NASDAQ here. It's pretty much drawing dead. It tried to spike up earlier, got sold off. It was up 1% on the day earlier. Now it's breaking even. Bitcoin was up about 5% on the day. Now it's at 2%. So to give you perspective, it definitely has a bearing there, but keep in mind Bitcoin's doing tremendously better than regular markets in general. So I am confident that we're going to see the price action continue to increase in the overall sense of things. Once again, it's not like going to just shoot straight up like we saw here today. That got rejected, of course, at a Fibonacci retracement level. But furthermore, we need to build a little bit more volume at this price point and continue higher. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at some other stuff here. To kind of note, first of all, let's see where the moving averages are at. If I recall correctly, the 200's coming and approaching here. I wouldn't say it's immediate, but the 200-day simple moving average is about 24,000. So, in the next couple of weeks, it'll probably be getting pretty close to the price action, and we'll have that initially as a resistance level. But if the 50 can continue to maintain itself and just slowly start working itself up, we will have that golden cross within the next couple months, probably by year end. Okay, so it's a strong likelihood we're going to see that, which does imply that we're going to probably be on the right side of the tracks there, and we might actually break bullish in that sense. That's not what we need to have happen in order to get there, but that's a big deal. So I think the next couple months we should start seeing some decent amount of rallies and looking pretty good. Keep in mind though, inflation is still occurring, and there's a lot of ominous thought processes there from Jerome Powell. Unfortunately, that kind of allowed for us to have a very strong red day a couple of days ago. We bounced back since then, but just keep that in mind. We are in a recession / inflation is a thing. Okay, it's very realistic. So Bitcoin going parabolic in the immediate near future is probably less likely going to happen. Just keep that in mind. So just remember that. And yeah, Terra Classic to $1, not going to happen. All right. Anyways, that's a conversation for another day. I just like to joke about that because it's just really funny how emotionally invested some people can get. If you want to learn about emotional investing, reference my chapter 7 of my trading academy. I cover that. All right. So to my community members, be sure to check that out. Okay, so here's the thing with Bitcoin on the daily. Let's look at the standard stuff. What we're looking at is a bounce tentatively off 50 on the RSI. So again, we got that bounce more so off this support level at 20,000. Like I mentioned before, 19,800, 20,000, good support range. Furthermore, we now have 20,500 working as a support channel. And the really cool thing about that is the simple fact that it was a previous resistance for quite a while, as we can see here previously, and it's working likely as a new support. So again, the price continues to recede. We're going to see 20,500 or more importantly, 20,440 work as a support level. But we got this nice little area here essentially working as a strong support, and we should be able to use that moving forward. Okay. So again, looking pretty good in that regard. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the MACD, because I think we were starting to lose momentum, and now we picked it up again. So good news is here, we still have a continuation of the upside potential. So if today closes above 20,500, I think we have a strong likelihood of further upside. Because again, that's a key support range in my opinion. We also got to keep in mind too, and we can see it pretty clear as day here, 20,800 is a definitive resistance level. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, now 8 days out of the last, 9, 10 trading days, we've seen a rejection there at 20,800. Now you're probably saying to yourself, oh, it didn't reject, it came above, we're good, we candle wicked above that. No, that doesn't matter. Candle wicks don't really help you in the general sense of support and resistance levels. Trend lines, perhaps, yes, different story. But when it comes to definitive support and resistance levels, the candlestick close is most important, especially on the daily. So a closure below 20,800 today would imply that we're likely to see some correction in the next couple of days. In other words, this weekend we could see a red weekend from Bitcoin if we close underneath that level to possibly come back down to 20,500. Worst case scenario, 20,000. I don't foresee that happening though at this point, just based on the overall sense of where we're at with the moving averages. We're above the 20 and the 50. So we're mostly in good shape, but you got to recognize if it can happen, it will happen, right? There's potential there. What is it? Murphy's Law. If it can go wrong, it will go wrong. This just you want to anticipate a worst case scenario, but also hope for the best too, right? Expect the worst, hope for the best. My grandpa always taught me that, and it's absolutely important thing to recognize in trading. It's super relevant. So anyways, what I'm getting at here, the summarization is that we're not in dire straits by any stretch. We're looking pretty good. I think a closure above 20,500, and we're going to see some green over the next couple of weeks. If we see a closure below 20,800, we'll probably see a correction over the weekend. Okay. Again, that's a strong resistance level. We may also even see a cup and handle. It's going to be an ugly one, but there's a chance we might see a cup and handle type of pattern here if we get rejected at 20,800 today. A likely retest at 20,500 and bounce from there. Okay. So it's actually not a bad thing that the price action didn't hold above that level today. If it closes above 20,800, that's great. That's all well and good, but it's not a problem if it doesn't. Okay. So I'm not super concerned with this. I'm not saying that you should short by any stretch, but there's a chance that we might have some further rejection here soon. Let's take a look at the 4 hour, kind of see. We can see that we're above the 50 and the 200. That's the most important thing here. We can also see that we're below 70 on the RSI. Still room for growth, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to hit that, right? There's a great chance that it will retest this 20,800 level and break through, but we need to look at smaller time frames to see if that's a possibility. When we see the MACD here, we are converging still bullishly. So as long as we continue to maintain this, we should be in good shape. If this next couple of candlesticks, or whatever you want to call them, are essentially higher, oscillators I think it's referred to as, then we're going to probably be looking pretty good. All right, what we're hoping for not to happen is for it to start doing this here. Again, that's a terrible illustration. I'm sorry, my right hand is apparently not as good as my left for drawing tools, but you get the gist, right? If we lose that momentum, then we could very well see a turnaround. But for right now, we are still converging bullishly, and it's a positive. Let's see if we are overextended and kind of help understand where we're at there. Just to clarify too, we came down to a 7, got a reset, and then down to another 9. Okay, so again, this was pretty much the entire trading week leading up until CPI data, which, as you can tell, CPI was this ugly candlestick here. And then, of course, the price action's continued up ever since. So we're at a 5 right now. Hypothetically, we've got another 20 hours of bullish continuation to the upside. So again, it's too early to anticipate that the price is going to break up or down. We need a little bit more time, consolidation at this price point, because obviously it got too high, too big for its britches, right? It came up too fast, too quick. So it makes perfect sense as to where we're at right now. And honestly, if we were to take a look at smaller time frames, when you look at Bollinger Bands, look how far outside of the Bollinger Bands it went. That's just an obvious retracement. And then you could identify the same thing with the volume weighted average price too. In fact, based on the amount of volume or lack thereof, because again, Bitcoin dominance is coming down, you can see that we went tremendously outside of the standard deviation, and that caused this massive pullback. So if I was awake at this time, I probably would have shorted Bitcoin. Now, granted, I was actually probably awake, come to think of it. I just really wasn't starting to look at my charts yet. But regardless of that fact, we can see that there's some obvious indicators here kind of giving us a reason for this pullback. But take a look at this here. Volume weighted average price, this line right here expressed, basically taking the last 24 hours of volume, expressing it as a price, is telling us that 20,650, just say 20,700, is working as a support channel. Okay, this is a likely support continuation, hopefully for the price to bounce off of that. Okay, so it's all well and good that we went outside of standard deviation, but it's important to recognize that we're still above the volume weighted average price line, and that's important to me. Those are things I like to look for. So that's a very, very positive sign on the smaller time frame. Let's look at the 1 hour and kind of see where we're at here. I'm confident we're still above the cloud, but I'm curious if we've lost that momentum. We're still above the baseline with conversion line. That's good. We are obviously above the cloud, upper and lower lead, but keep in mind if the price action goes sideways from here, we'll likely get that to be a bounce off that level. Furthermore as well, we've got the lagging span, free and clear price action. So in essence, you should not close your position at this point. This conservative indicator is telling us that, hey, a long position is still viable. Yes, it went outside of its standard deviation, but that was kind of an outlier, right? That's what standard deviation is. It's something that you exclude from the data. So we are looking at some pretty good trading here along the lines above the volume at average price. So I really like what I see here ultimately. I'm not concerned with this pullback. I think we should likely see some further upside. Just looking at the momentum on the smaller time frames. Let's see where we're at with TD sequential as well. We came up to a 9. Got a slight reset here. Not a lot of consolidation, but enough. We came up to a 4 and got a reset again. So truth be told, the price needs to consolidate for a couple of hours, or hopefully what we can see is for this consolidation to occur the rest of the remainder of the trading day, and then for a break to the upside once the Eastern markets open later today. There's a strong chance we're going to see something along those lines. Everything's looking like it's going to proceed up versus down, because again, we're above a lot of key level supports. A closure today, again, above 20,800, and I think we're going to see a green weekend. A closure below, we'll probably see some red, but not intense. Most likely consolidation effort at that price point. Because again, I mentioned this previously, again, it's going to be kind of ugly, but there's a cup and handle potential pattern that may form here, right? So it could be just the typical cup here, and then it could very well reject here to the upside at 20,500, but it also could come down as low as 20,400. So one or two things will happen, in my opinion. I think the price would pull back perhaps to that range and bounce, or it could continue higher here soon, but we really don't want it to because it went way too high, way too fast. We need this consolidation to continue, because if we take a look at the volume profile here, we can see there's a strong amount of volume down below the price action in that range, that pocket, so to speak, of 20,400 to 20,500, and that's a positive thing. But it doesn't mean it's not going to come down to bounce, right? But it does imply that if we come down, there's a likelihood of a bounce off that level because of that support range, okay? All right, so that's pretty much everything there. I know I tried to make this a quick one. It was kind of long-winded, I apologize, but there's a lot to cover, a lot of things you got to factor in. And just note at this point, I think we're generally in good shape. I do not see a massive pullback coming. Unless traditional markets tank near the end of today's close, trading day, then we should be in pretty good shape. Ultimately, I foresee a green weekend from Bitcoin, but it really depends on the candlestick closure. Are we going to close above 20,800, that key level resistance, or are we going to close below? We close below, cup and handle would be a likely probability for a retest of 20,500. We close above, I think we might see further upside for the weekend, where that Bitcoin dominance starts to decrease, or correction, starts to increase. Alts start to sell off and Bitcoin goes up. Because you got to keep in mind, when altcoins sell off, a lot of that profit goes back into Bitcoin. It's a common cycle. So just things to kind of pay attention to. All right, well, that's all I got here for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope this was a good learning experience for you. I look forward to seeing the next one. You have a great rest of your day and a wonderful weekend. Thanks again.